iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. I'm going to get to some fantasy baseball in just a minute, but before I start, I really do want to talk for a second about last night's NBA game. Look, I watch all sports. I wouldn't say I cover all sports. I'm certainly the best in football, and I do a lot of baseball, and I know a little bit of basketball, but man, golf for sure. I love watching and playing golf. But the NBA, man, that was a great game last night. The Warriors and Rockets. And it just goes to show you something. And I'm going to see if I can try to relate this to fantasy somehow. Harden and Paul. Harden's a great player. Paul's a very good player. And in a fantasy team, you need great players to win. But the Warriors, man, they've got great players. Durant is unstoppable. Curry's great. Draymond Green's great. And Klay Thompson's pretty darn good too. So if I want to relate this to fantasy, the reason the Warriors are going to win, they have more great players. Their great players are better than the Rockets' great players. Who can stop Kevin Durant? The dude's like 7 feet tall and he's already in the air and he shoots over people. There's nobody who can cover that guy one-on-one. Even LeBron can't cover him one-on-one. And LeBron can cover anybody. Now, LeBron can muscle up Durant, but Durant's still shooting over him. And, okay, so let's say LeBron's covering Durant. Who's covering Steph Curry or Klay Thompson? I mean, this team is a juggernaut. And I look at this team and I look at the Celtics. And once again, I'll see if I can try to get this back my way into fantasy. These are dynasty. These are dynasty teams. This Warriors team is a dynasty team. This Celtic team is a dynasty team. This Celtic team may in fact beat Cleveland, and they don't even have their best two players. Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward aren't even on the floor. Could you imagine how good the Celtics are going to be? I mean, seriously. So in dynasty, you create something that's good not just for 1 year, but for multiple years. It's great to be one and done. It's great to get a championship. But your window is short. Build your dynasty team for the long run, for at least 3 to 4 years. Who knows what's going to happen to the Warriors, but I've got to think they're the best team in basketball for the next 2 to 3 years. The Celtics might even be built for longer than that. Unreal. So, get making this for fantasy purposes. Build your dynasty teams to last 3 to 4 years if you can. If you're starting a brand new dynasty team, I wouldn't be drafting Tom Brady. Bad move. I'd be drafting Jared Goff, and I can hopefully get 3 to 5 years of greatness from him, right? I want guys who can make me last. Durant, Curry, Thompson, Draymond Green, where are these guys going? This team is built to last. The Toronto Raptors, not built to last. The Cavaliers, not built to last. The Celtics, they're built to last. So, it's very interesting, the dynamic in the NBA. It really is. I love watching this time of year. Little Roto's addicted to it. It's like on crack, watching all the games. But it's very exciting. All right, let's take a look now at fantasy baseball. This is a very, very critical time of year. Because this is when the better teams start moving away from the worst teams. This second quarter of the season, bats 151 to 300. Right? Because then we've got the second half of the year, and the last quarter's a mess. The last quarter of the season's a mess. But I think the middle 2 quarters are where the better teams shine through. So, what we really have to get through here are the injuries. Because baseball is so long. It's such a brutally long season that you've got to be able to last. Because every day, guys are going on the DL. So you need to have depth and you need to figure out which guys are available. So, for example, Joey Lucchesi, right hip strain, DL. You thought you were good. You're not. A.J. Pollock leaves the game with a sprained thumb. You thought you were good. Maybe you're not. Here you are thinking you had A.J. Pollock doing great, and he is, but he always gets injured. Well, here's the injury. Could be a long-term absence. What if he has a bad thumb injury? How are you going to recover? Can you recover? Is your team good enough to recover? What do you need to do? Joey Votto, lower back tightness, leaves the game. Ryan Braun leaves the game. DJ Mahayu, back on the DL with a thumb injury. There's so many things that can happen in baseball. Robbie Ray, when is he coming back? Jake Lamb, when is he due back? Dustin Pedroia, when is he due back from his knee injury? You've got to be able to balance all these things out. And baseball is very, very hard to do that. It's very hard. Because it's every day and it's the ultimate grind sport. See, football's not a grind. Football is 16 weeks and you have pretty much all week to study it, look at it, make your moves. But baseball is like every day. You don't pay attention. If you go away on a cruise for a week, you come back, 3 of your guys could be on the DL. You're like, what just happened? Seriously, what just happened to my team? Well, nothing just happened, except they got injured. It's a problem. So you've got to be very aware of what's happening. And I think now is the time when you go to the free agency wire, you've got to cover yourself and get some depth. Got to get some depth. You can't leave yourself with a big hole. So more news. Will Myers looks like he's not coming back until June. That's why they brought up Franmil Reyes. Right? Why do you think they would have brought up Franmil? Only because they knew Myers wasn't going to play. Now their outfield is Franchi Cordero, Franmil Reyes, and Manuel Margot. Whoever's not hitting by June when Will Myers returns goes down or gets benched. Watch that closely. Now, another thing I'm watching closely this time of year. The prospects. Michael Kopech. Eloy Jimenez. So let's talk about Jimenez. Jimenez is a very good player. He really is. He's one of my favorite young players. But the question is, when is he going to come up? How soon will he come up? Well, let's take a look at his numbers. All right, going through this year, the guy's hitting .320 with 7 home runs and 25 RBIs. You'd think that he's going to come up by the All-Star break, but will he? The White Sox showed last year that they're willing to keep their guys down as long as humanly possible. But when your outfield is Nicky Delmonico, Adam Engel, and Daniel Palka, I think it's time for Eloy Jimenez to come up. What about Michael Kopech? Guy's thrown 33 innings, 44 strikeouts, let up a lot of earned runs. Maybe he's not ready. 33 innings, how many innings is he going to pitch this year? Probably about $140. Means he's got another 100 or so innings in his arm. When do they bring him up? Depends. I think he gets a taste of the majors this year, but how much of a taste? We've got to figure this out. These are things that we need to know. Right? So, and when we know it, we've got to gamble. Speaking of gambling, when you pick up pitchers, especially pitchers more than hitters, you take a big risk. Sal Romano. Now let's talk about Sal Romano from Cincinnati. Sal Romano's had some good starts. In fact, right, his last 2 starts prior to yesterday, 11 innings, 7 hits, 9 strikeouts, 3 walks. Well, yesterday went 2 1/3, he had let up 6 runs. Nightmare. So, did you do anything wrong by picking up Sal Romano? No, you did nothing wrong. You picked him up, you thought that he had some upside. Maybe he does. I think he does. But he had a bad start. Inconsistency. Pitchers are very inconsistent when they first come up in the majors. It takes a while. Kind of like quarterbacks. Quarterbacks don't become consistent right away. Need good coaching. Need good pitching coaches. All right, so Sal Romano was a guy who hurt you yesterday. Now, there was a member forum question that came up today, and I want to talk about it. Very important question. It's a very important question. So the member asked, and you can always ask your questions on the premium message forums on scoutfantasysports.com. So the question was, should I trade Luis Severino for Nolan Arenado? That was a very simple question and a very difficult answer. Firstly, let's take a look at Luis Severino. Can we? Can we just have a moment on Luis Severino? Is he a top 5 pitcher in baseball? You betcha. 59 innings, 70 strikeouts, 6 wins, 2.14 ERA, .90 whip. Could this guy not win 20 games? Could this guy not have an ERA under 3? Could his whip be 1.1 something? Could he get 200 strikeouts? Yes, 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 yes. Now, you're getting Nolan Arenado. What's not to like about Nolan Arenado? He's a stud, hitting .326, 8 home runs, on pace to hit about, 32 with 100 RBIs. But I can't answer this question for you. What are your pitching stats? What are your hitting stats? Or do you need more pitching? If you trade Severino, do you have an anchor for your staff? Or is your best pitcher at that point Sal Romano? Because if you trade your anchor and you got nothing, you're in big old trouble. If you get Arenado, does his power, who does he replace? Does he replace Evan Longoria? Well, if Longoria is going to go 25-90 and Arenado is going to go 35-100, you gain 10 home runs and 10 RBIs. I'd rather keep Severino. So, when you ask trade questions, which are good questions, by the way, the answers are often more complicated than you think. They're often way more complicated than you think. Look at the player that you are replacing. So, for example, you get Arenado, but you had Longoria. What are you really gaining? Arenado's better. He's 100 times better than Longoria. But I don't have to give up Severino to get him. You catch my drift? See the player you're moving and figure out the stats there. What are the stats that you're losing and how much are you actually gaining? I would bet this. It's going to be a whole lot harder to replace Luis Severino than Nolan Arenado. Severino might be irreplaceable unless you have Max Scherzer and Corey Kluber. He's in a top 5 pitcher right now. By the way, last year in my keeper league, my home league, I had Charlie Morton and I had Luis Severino. I traded Luis Severino last year, didn't win the league, came in third, and I didn't protect Charlie Morton at $10. Oh my God, how different would my team be? Makes me sick. All right, but time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Please go to Play FFWC right now. Sign up for one of our drafts. Be part of one of our drafts, Best Ball, Online Championship, Fantasy Football World Championship. Made Madness, sign up now, be registered, be eligible to get a free team in the World Championship. ScoutFantasySports.com, you get me, you get Adam Ronis, you get Sean Childs, 3 proven winners out there to help you win your league. All right, guys, have a great day. This is Dr. Roto saying be well, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!